With that, we want to bring in Ari Fleischer, former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor. Also, Sean Davis, CEO and co-founder of The Federalist. Great to have both of you with us today, gentlemen. Ari, let me go to you first. Obviously, we saw the logjam break towards Kevin McCarthy today. So today was a significant afternoon so far. How do you see this going from here?
Well, first, Martha, you got to love the yays and nays.
Yeah.
It's a shouting contest, and it's kind of fun. Look, yesterday I made the analogy, being a Northeasterner, that this is like watching a car that's stuck in the snow. And if you step on the gas, the only thing that happens is the wheels go round and round and round. It didn't matter whether Kevin McCarthy was driving or Jim Jordan. It didn't matter who the driver was. The wheels were spinning. The car wasn't moving. Today, as any good Northeasterner knows, they got traction in the snow. Kevin McCarthy did. He was able to rock the car, get it forward, backward. And now the car is starting to move. That's the significance of the number of members who broke toward Kevin McCarthy today, but he's still stuck. And that's his fundamental problem about how to move the remaining 6 votes or to have the Democrats be busy somehow so the threshold drops.
Yeah, sometimes if you put a pizza box underneath the tire, it can get a little traction, a little bit of cardboard where some of these members. Sean, what's your take on where this stands right now? And what are we learning from all this, and where's it going?
Well, I think we've learned something really important is that when you get all these people in the room together and force them to do work, they have to get it done. Yeah. And I know there's been a lot of complaining about the chaos and gridlock and this and that. This is actually about how democracy is supposed to look. You know, we were told for months that democracy was on the ballot. Well, this is democracy here. This is how the founders designed it. And I, for one, think it's fantastic to see these people on the floor working stuff out in the open. That's something we've not seen for years. I mean, recall that I think it's been 4 or 5 years since an amendment has ever been offered on the floor of the House because rules that were put in place by Pelosi. So I think we're seeing progress. I think the progress is good. I imagine in the next couple days or week, we'll finally see a resolution. But this is how the process is supposed to work. And I actually think it's great to see it happening on our screens every day in front of us because that's what the founders wanted.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it feels like we're getting closer. But on the other hand, the people who are undecided at this point or who still are for Jordan, they don't seem like they're budging anywhere. It feels like we peeled off the votes that that looked like they were peelable at this point, Ari. Where do you see this going now?
I have no idea. I mean, this is old-fashioned closed doors. What can they agree to? But let me talk about one of the substantive demands that is made, and it's a good one, and that's never again have a big omnibus spending bill like the one that was just done. And I would remember being on your show, Martha, when that was passed, and I said it's a sign how broken Congress is. Yeah. But here's why it's broken. It has nothing to do with the speaker or the leadership. Rank and file controls this. They have to do their jobs. They need to pass appropriation bills and do it on time. And in both parties, that's broken down over the last couple decades. I remember being on Capitol Hill when people passed their appropriation bills on time.
Hold on 1 second, Ari. Kevin McCarthy speaking. Let's listen in. Let's watch.
We'll have the votes to finish this once and for all. It just reminds me of what my father always told me. It's not how you start, it's how you finish. And now we have to finish for the American public.
What was the turnaround? What was the breaking point in these negotiations?
I think getting together and just finding the ability to how we all going to work together. It's new for us, one, being in the majority, but being in a tight majority. I think at the end of the day, we're going to be more effective, more efficient, and definitely government's going to be more accountable.
How worried are you that you...
How do you expect to govern this way if it has been taking this long to get the Congress united?
See, this is the great part. Because it took this long, now we learned how to govern. So now we'll be able to get the job done. Thank you all very much. See you later.
Thank you, sir.
All right, some brief comments there from Kevin McCarthy saying that a lot has been learned in this process. You know, it's interesting, Sean, one of the things that is in this is a potential agreement to stick to the 2022 defense spending bill. And you're seeing a bit of coalition between dovish Democrats and non-interventionist Republicans on this. How significant is that part of what looks to be part of this agreement?
Oh, I think that's extremely significant. When you look at what Ari was talking about, the breakdown in the budget process, this is putting into writing some really hard and fast caps on what spending can be and how spending has to be done. He's right. It used to be that the Senate would pass individual appropriations bills, the House would pass them, they would come together in conference, they would work through amendments together, and that had devolved in, I would say, the last 10 to 20 years into this kind of backroom process where you had 3 or 4 people put down the numbers, everyone else was forced to agree to it. There was no real amendment or opportunity to debate on the floor. And I think the fact that they are coming to an agreement on something like budget caps and budget numbers, I think it's very significant. And I think the closer we get to that, where both houses have to pass their own bills on time together and then everyone works it out, that's how the process should work.
Yeah, I see you responding to that, Ari. And, you know, it strikes me that if you want to raise or cap defense spending, you might actually have to cut some spending from some other places, which is something we never hear anything about from members of Congress.
Well, my problem with this is a backroom process. This didn't come out of the House Budget Committee where it was debated openly what should defense spending be, and then it gets passed on the floor with the votes of the majority. This is a backroom spending process that somebody went into the room to get votes, and then they said, let's keep defense locked in at the 2022 levels. That's not the way it should be. If you want to go through the process and empower individual legislators, you have to go through committees and then put it on the floor and give everybody a vote. So I don't see that as an answer. These issues about balance the budget over 10 years, absolutely, let's try to do it. But you've got to do it in the open and do it the way we, the public, can watch it all. Here's the biggest issue of all. They want to be transformational. And I'll just speak truth to lack of power. You're not going to be transformational with a 5-vote majority in the House, especially one that behaves this way, when the Senate's controlled by the Democrats and the White House by the Democrats. You've got to be realistic. And they cannot pass these massive changes in America with a 5-vote margin in the House and lack of control. So I'm going to speak truth to lack of power. The Transformational Caucus is going to grind everything to a halt and be unsuccessful.
It's going to be fascinating to watch. And as of right now, they still don't have the votes for Kevin McCarthy, but it's much closer than it was. So we'll see where this goes and whether they can get an adjournment agreement seems to be the first order here. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Great to see you both, Sean Davis and Ari Fleischer. Thank you.